Hey, what's up? Oh, oh, we are live. We are live, Paul.
Yeah.
Well, I wasn't ready for that one, but hey, welcome to episode 112 of the PrimeTime Gorehounds on June 12th, 2025. I'm PrimeTime Gorehounds with the Gorehound himself, Paul Burks, watching the 2004 horror classic Saw. Ladies and gentlemen, we are live. As of right now, we are live. This shit can cut off at any second, so be prepared, everybody.
Yep.
Yes, Saw 2004. Apologies for the late start. StreamYard was going through some, having a major global outage right now. We're going through an outage. That's why it literally got us live, like right in the middle of the countdown. I wasn't even ready for it. But
I wasn't ready. I was about to go grab a drink from the fridge, and all of a sudden it said live. And I thought, oh fuck, we're live. We got to get on.
Yes, we are live. So, but yeah, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what may happen for the duration of this show. If this shit's cut, if it cuts off, then we'll have to see you guys next week.
I'm just going to explain what's going on, guys. Apparently, there is a global issue with the Google Cloud on StreamYard. Something in their system has shit the bed. We've been trying now for almost an hour to try and get this fucker up and running, and somehow we've managed to get in. Hopefully, this thing will run smoothly from start to finish. And hopefully my mode, because I got a brand new mode on internet now, so everything's working good on my side of things. But if this stream cuts off, then you know StreamYard has shit the bed on us. But hopefully we can get this fucker in from start to finish. But as far as how I've been doing, James, well, I told you a little bit off the record, which I'm not going to mention here live. James knows that part of the story. But but what I can say is that we had a major flood in my town because of a 400-mile rain cloud that pretty much swamped the whole southwest area. Talk about heavy duty. There's a music festival just 5 minutes up the road from where I live. It's going to be there for 3 days. It's all like pop music and stuff, and I'm just like, whatever. But that aside, I've been doing okay. Just been trying to get things up and going, you know, and I'm also now in the process of getting fabrics together for my next costume for when I go to Venice next year. So that being said, but James, you beat me to it when it came to picking the Saw movie because one of us was going to be picking this, and you pulled the trigger before I did.
Yes, I did. This is Saw, which is directed by the great horror director James Wan. Of course, this is coming from a short film that him and Lee Winnell, is that his name?
Yep, that's him.
Yeah, a short film that he and Lee Winnell did when they were in college, and then they raised up the money to make this a feature film, and this is pretty much the movie that put James Wan on the map. Which later, of course, he later went on to do The Conjuring. Later went on to do Fast 7. Very accomplished actor, and I remember really enjoying this film. I thought the second one was okay. The third one I've said is where I checked out because it's like okay, we're doing the same shit over and over again. And of course this is something that I say over and over again, of course, but it's kind of a staple here in PrimeTime Gorehounds. But I believe that this is another one of those movies where I feel like you could have just kept it at this one movie, and I think it could have been just fine. But
they could have done that, but nobody. Not me, not anybody. Nobody expected this movie to all of a sudden in 20 years make 10 movies and gross over $1 billion in total.
10 movies? Oh, I thought it was 45.
Hey, don't give them ideas. But yeah, there are there are
Oh,
10.
Paul. You've seen them all. They always find some way to. Like, even you, Paul, gotta admit, like, it's like, okay, now we're just making shit up just for it to happen at this point. The first
Well,
one made sense. I even saw 2 and 3 made sense. But the way they stretch things out, it's like, okay.
yeah, well, it seems like they had, because of this, because again, nobody expected this movie to become the success it did. I mean, I remember like I never knew anything about this movie, nothing. I just remember just watching TV one day, and there was just like this little quick TV advert popped up with Saw, and I was just like, oh, okay, this sounds interesting. I want to check this out. Went to go see it in the cinema, and I remember when I first saw this, I remember just being completely just fucking blown away by how good this movie turned out to be. I mean, I loved how the story was building up. I liked how inventive the traps were. And I got to admit, all those, the cinematography was just top notch. How they did stuff like that, and of course the music score, which is done by Charlie Clouser, who's done the music for pretty much every Saw movie that's come out. And he used to be in a band called 9 Inch Nails, so that's why you have that like industrial, like grimy feel to it. But the first, I think the first, for me on a personal note, the first the first 6 or 7 movies, they maintained that like grimy, gritty feel to the whole thing from start to finish on those ones. And then it took a 8-year break. Came back for number 8 with Jigsaw in 2017, and I noticed the style of the movie was a little bit different compared to what they had before. It was still, I mean, when it came back, I was happy as hell because I mean, after all, for anyone who doesn't know, I am a bit of a Saw fan. I mean, I've got Billy fucking tattooed on my arm for Christ's sake with all these other horror movie characters on me. But yeah, I remember just thinking every time a new one kept coming out, I was just like, okay, I need to go check this out. Did it go off the rails a little bit as they went on? To some extent, yeah, I could say they did. But they tried to like expand on the story of what's going on. So it's like as the series progressed, you got more and more bits and pieces of what was going on, and there's a little bit of backtracking because I mean, there's no way this Jigsaw dude can get all the stuff set up and get all these names put out on his own. So there's obviously been having like extra help, and as each movie goes on, it explains that. Now, also, I need to point this out as well, James. Saw 10 is really Saw 2 because Saw 10 takes place after the first and before the second. So that's the chronological order in the side of things. But
Wait, what?
yeah, really. Saw 10 is really the second one in terms of the chronological story, timeline wise.
Saw 10 is Saw 2.
Really, yeah. So when we get around to going through all these, before we jump into Saw 2, it's got to be straight into Saw 10. Trust me, you'll know why when you see the gaps into it, because it kind of fills in the gaps of what's going on there between those two of the events of those 2 films.
Okay.
And also, Saw 10 was the highest reviewed movie after this one, which I mean, that one caught me by surprise. I was surprised by how good that one turned out, because after the ninth one, which was called Spiral, which had Chris Rock and Samuel L. Jackson in it, for me that one, it didn't feel like a Saw movie to me. But we'll get to those when we get to those, because right now it's all about this one.
Well, and of course, you also got to remember too, like, this was around during the time of in 2004. We had moved on from the second phase of slasher films. We were out of that phase. This was kind of like in the middle of that whole torture horror era that we kind of had around the mid 2000s. We had the Saws, then you had the Hostels, then you had the I Spit on Your Graves, and this
The
was kind
Hills
of like
Have Eyes
around
remake.
Hills Have Eyes remakes, where it was more about more about the gore, when they really went over the top with it.
Yeah, they were starting to push boundaries on this. This was the movie you could
Pushing the
say that ushered in.
boundaries.
Yeah, this was the
Yes.
because at the same time, keep in mind, when this movie came out in France, you had a filmmaker called Alex Aja who did a film called High Tension, or AKA Switchblade Romance, and I guess
High
James
tension's
Wan.
really good. High tension's
Yeah,
really good.
so I guess you could say James Wan, I guess in a way, was inspired by what was going on over there. Because at this time in the mid 2000 period, you had the Saw movies, you had the Hostel, Hills Have Eyes remake, and France, you had movies like High Tension, Frontiers, Martyrs, and all these other Inside, and they were coming up with some. Those each continent was bringing out some really fucking extreme shit, and I was lucky enough to see most of them when they came out at the time.
Yeah, and of course, this was 2004.
Yep.
I was about 11 years old at the time. Like I said, I saw this movie. I think I saw it. I think I saw this on Showtime one time, and for a movie that's pretty, low budget, I'm actually kind of surprised at the cast. I mean, it got Carrie Elways, got Danny
Danny Glover.
Glover in
Yeah.
here. Oh, what's the chick's name? She's Diggs from Starship Troopers.
Oh yeah, I think it was Dana Mayers. I think her name is.
Dana
I'll make it up.
Mills, her fine
Yeah.
ass. Yes. So I'm actually surprised that the cast, that James Wan and Lee Winnell, who wrote. Did he write this?
Yeah, he wrote this, but he also stars in it too. He's the guy that's in the bathtub.
Yes, yeah, he also stars in it too. So
Yeah.
so actually pretty surprising at the that this of the cast here.
And don't forget Tobin Bell.
And of course, Tobin Bell, who plays Jigsaw, and then of course we got the doll here, which is iconic in the horror world, absolutely. But yeah, it's just that when it comes to the franchise, I understand the appeal. I understand the logic behind it. I just feel. I mean, again, Paul, you know where I am when it comes to sequels.
Yeah.
It's like how long until you're just doing the same thing over and over and over again. And I know people get annoyed, like, James, you always said it. Well, it's the truth. The first one usually is the best one. I mean, I'm sorry, people. Like, of course, there's gonna be that fan favorite that everybody loves. But let's be honest, when people think of Halloween, they think of the first film. When people think of the Michael Myers mask, they think of the first film, not not Six, not Resurrection, the first, and that's the reason. But
it's always the first film that makes that impression.
It's always the first film. It's always going to be the first film. I mean, there are some exceptions to the rule. The people want to throw Godfather in my face. Well, the difference between movies like Saw and movies like The Godfather is that it's pretty much a continuous story. Yep. With Saw, well, I
Saw it in a way is a
is it kind of a continuous story?
In an essence, it is.
Like I checked that out to 3, so I don't know.
Well, eventually, dude, I'm gonna get us to go through all of them. We're gonna go through them in chronological order as well. So it is, in an essence, it is a continuous story, and I'll explain more about those when we do get to those.
So, Paul, you mean tell me that we're gonna after this we're gonna have to watch 10, then 2?
Yep.
See, that's what I'm talking about. Shit like that, Paul. But okay.
I'm the kind of guy. I'm like this with any movie. If any movie has a prequel that comes out later that's set before a certain time, I'm always going to watch a movie in chronological order. I'm a bit of a nerd when it comes to that in terms of movie timelines. That's the bougie ass in me.
So at Texas Chainsaw Massacre, you're going to watch New Beginning before the remake.
I have to be in a certain mood to watch that Next Generation one, but Texas Chainsaw prequel.
Yeah, why you gotta be in the mood?
Well, that Texas Chainsaw Next Generation, that fourth one, that one before the remake came was was pretty bad. But if you're talking about those ones that came out in the mid 2000s, the Texas Chainsaw Beginning prequel, and then yes, I will watch the Texas Chainsaw prequel before jumping into the 2003 film. Yeah, I will do that. And speaking of the prequel, I've just learned that Owl Pictures is finally going to release the prequel and the 2003 remake on 4K, both of them unrated, which is something I've been waiting on because my copy of the fucking 2006 prequel is busted. I guess just died on me because after all the usage. So come August, I'm finally going to get my grubby little hands on that and going to be watching the unrated version. So expect that one in the pipeline, people.
Okay, all right, interesting. Okay, so me and Paul, we are going to be watching. I got it. I rented this on Amazon, and I was just telling Paul the StreamYard better get his shit in order, otherwise I'm going to be upset. But because I wasted $3 for nothing. But we're here. We're at Twisted Pictures, where the barbed wire is just about to form on the screen here.
Yep.
And rules goes 3, 2, 1, play. When we say play, you press play. Again, 3, 2, 1, play. When we say play, you press play.
And if you don't press play, you're going to wake up and have a bad day in a rat maze full of barbed wire.
All right, here we go. And 3, 2, 1, play.
And we are in Twisted Pictures forming the barbed wire. And I'll have to be fair and say this too, but this movie franchise is the franchise that put Lionsgate and Twisted Pictures in the mainstream map. Because Lionsgate was a very small indie studio once upon a time, but once they started pumping these ones out, then they just started getting like bigger movies under their belts.
Yeah.
And there's the key. That's another thing about this movie as well. You gotta keep an eye on everything. Look for the little clues and everything, because if you blink and you miss it, it's like, oh shit, that's what it was. Oh god, imagine waking up in a shitty ass bathtub.
What do you mean? That's every professional wrestler in the 80s after a night of partying.
Fair point. But it's crazy that this movie, the budget for this movie was about 1 million, and it went on to make 104 million worldwide. Sounds like you're a second or two ahead of me.
Yeah. Our markings might be a little bit differently because Paul is watching a other version.
Yeah, I got the unrated version on Blu-ray, which I got from the States. It's not an English version of it because I've got a multi-region 4K player. I'm just gonna fast forward.
Did the lights come on for you?
No, I'm just about to fast. Right now they're on. I just had to skim it just a little bit. A little bit of a blurry vision. He's looking at the ceiling of the lights. That's where the camera's at now.
That's Lee Winnell, by the way. The guy that went on to do Insidious Chapter 3, Upgrade, Invisible Man, James Wan's buddy.
I just saw Dr. Gordon, played by Kerry Lewis, I mean. And there's a dead body. I'm not doing spoilers.
Dead body. Yep. One of the greatest, one of the greatest twists in horror movie history.
Oh yeah, dude. Like like I said, I was lucky enough to see this in the cinema. There was only like 2 nighttime showings for it at the time. So when I went in there, it was in like I think it was in screen 4 in my multiplex cinema. So it was like the small screen, but we had a decent amount of people in there, and this guy's just realized his leg is chained up. That sucks.
This is like you know what this reminds me of?
What?
It reminds me of those, like, I know I'm not a gamer, folks, calm down, but but it, it but sometimes people be like, I'll say something like, yeah, Hulk Hogan was great. And then people be like, yeah, Hulk Hogan was great. It's like, oh, yeah, but did you see Superstar Billy Graham? It's like, stop it, okay, but
Yeah, yeah, I know what you're getting. And I don't know if you knew this also, but this movie was literally shot in 18 days. And that's it. I don't know if you noticed also, but this movie has 2 different types of camera styles. I don't know if you've noticed it. When you look at Gordon, his camera's all steady and controlled, and then when you look at um that guy, it's in like a steady cam.
good eye, Paul. That's a photographer in you coming out.
Yeah, definite. It's like little tiny details like that is what really sets the mood for this movie as well. But yeah, also because I does photography, camera stuff. I kind of have the bit of an eye for this stuff now. I think they were using a 2.40 Panavision lens at the time.
It all reminds me of like a PlayStation 1 video game where you kind of like have to like solve puzzles and search the body and then pick up all these random clues to make things make sense.
Yeah, it reminds me of Silent Hill, one of the early ones.
Yeah, kind of like Silent Hill. Yeah, this is a great
And
film.
yeah, like again, like I said, this movie 20 years later, people still talk about this movie. So it has that. It stood the test of time.
And also has that like grindhouse, like 70s like feel to it.
That's another thing I appreciate is the throwback to that grindhouse days. The way the camera looks, nothing is clean about it. It's just grimy and gritty, and I like that. I ain't seen that kind of style at the time. Well, at that period in time, I never saw a camera style like that since 7. And what up, EJ? Yeah, EJ's just saying in the chat box, he's saying that if you watch Saw 1, 10, 2, and 3, then that's the order of that original timeline thing before it moves on to the others.
It's 10 o'clock in the morning.
Or
Tobin
is it
Bell
night?
definitely made himself a household name in terms of the horror. I mean, I guess you could say it's a slasher. Well, it's part of the slasher family. I wouldn't necessarily say. Well, maybe the Saw film made by Part 10. I don't know. Maybe it became a typical slasher movie. This I wouldn't classify as a slasher film. If this was on its own, there were no other Saw films. Well, even now, I would not classify Saw 2004 as a slasher. It's not a slasher. It's a psychological horror film.
It's definitely a psychological horror, but with elements of what you would find in a slasher movie, or like something like, I don't know, maybe something out of Hellraiser. The way these traps are all set up, you could kind of associate it with Hellraiser in a sense, because those movies were pretty extreme when they had their gore going. Oh, those old cassette tape things, I ain't seen those in a long time. But yeah, Tobin Bell.
Tapes.
Yeah. But yeah, Tobin Bell, man, like he before he was in the Saw movies, he had like a couple of small bit roles here and there for films like Quick and the Dead. He was in The Line of Fire. I think he was the villain in season 2 of 24 at one point. But once he ended up in the Saw franchise, that's the movie he's pretty much best known for now. And he's like, how old is he now? Let me check. Because I think he must have been in his fucking 60s when he did this. Here we go. Tobin Bell. Gee, dude, he's gonna be 83 in August.
Yeah, he is a late bloomer.
Yeah. Yeah, they got to work together. I mean, again, the majority of this movie is in this one setting, and that's usually that's usually a ballsy thing to do
That's
because
very
sometimes,
ballsy.
yeah, because when you usually have a movie that's just set in one setting, people are gonna lose interest in it. But for somehow, to James Wan's credit and Lee Wino's credit here, they figured a way to really get creative and masterful with the storyline on this, and just to keep your interest going. Because I remember just watching it, and I was thinking to myself, "Man, how are they gonna get out of this?" Because the way everything's just set up, it's like almost like Mission Impossible to an extent. And you remember the video games that came out for it too?
Oh, yeah, those. I remember not liking those games.
Yeah, I did play the first one. That one takes place, I guess you could say, after the events of this one, but it was focusing on Danny Glover's character, Tap. I almost made it to the end too, but then my disc got scratched up by the hard drive, so I never got to finish it.
I gotta remember, like this was like during a time like 2004 when we was in that transition stage. Keep in mind, this was like 3 years before the first iPhone.
Yeah,
Like people, 2004, we were still using flip phones.
yeah, I had one of those Nokia flip phones at the time. I think it was one that I got when the Matrix sequels came out. It was similar to those.
Yeah, but this is like a video game, though, because like the objective, like try to get the tape recorder from the dead guy, like
Yeah, and also Jigsaw's voice, just yeah. That's another thing about it is that voice. When you hear it, you know right away. Yeah, that's Jigsaw, man. Well,
what the
later on
fuck
when you
is
do.
he talking about?
I don't know. What's he talking about? He's saying about doing something. Like I said, Jigsaw can be very cryptic as well with the way he does things. For anyone who's never seen these films before, you could bust a cassette doing that.
I remember Carrie Always from Princess Bride and The Crush. Remember The Crush?
Yeah, I remember that film. I also remember him in that. I think it was that Mel Brooks comedy, Robin Hood Men in Tights, and I think he
Yeah,
was
I
also.
remember. I remember as a young boy, I thought Alicia Silverstone was so attractive in that movie. Now at 30 years old, look at Alicia Silverstone in The Crush. I don't anymore.
Yeah,
Especially considering that her character's supposed to be like 14. I'm just like,
yeah,
ugh, gross. Ugh.
yeah. You can't really
Yeah.
do that, man.
Yeah. It's not the same no more. Oh, when I was
Nope.
8? Fuck yeah. 30? Ugh. Nah, I'll back off.
No. X marks the spot. Now you hear that stakes being raised. Rotting in vain, huh?
Let the game begin.
Yep. It is now officially started. Now, apparently, I was reading this. James Wan took a gamble. He did not take an upfront salary for this movie. He opted for a percentage instead. So he was gambling on this. If this movie flopped, he would have walked away empty-handed.
Oh.
So right from the jump, James Wan likes to take risks if he knows he can pull them off, and I guess in this case he did. Because again, guys, nobody saw a movie like this before. This was new at the time. Yeah, I heard that whisper. Did you hear that?
And what's great about this, I think what I really like about this first Saw film. And again, I speak for myself. It's not that later Saw. Again, I've only seen the first few. It's not
Yeah.
that the more crazy the situation gets, that it's not like wow. I understand it, but there's something so primal and real real disturbing at the baseline simplicity of having to cut off your own fucking leg. I
Oh.
mean, like, it's not crazy wild the
Mm,
later Saw films get of what you're expected to do and what you have to do to survive, and he's crazy beyond belief. It's just that simple sort of, could
yeah.
you cut off your own leg? Or
Because you
could you put your hand into this disgusting shit-filled toilet? Like,
that is
this
some-
is
that is that is some nasty fucking diarrhea in that toilet. I was about to bring that up, but you beat me to it.
it's just relatable. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When you're watching this, we as an
This.
audience can relate to this. Like, obviously, very few of us have stuck our hand in a shit filled toilet. I just mean we've all have a toilet, we all shit, and we all puke in the toilet. We all know about the toilet. We all know about the toilet. It's familiar. The shit, the poo. It's that classic disgusting trope. You know what I mean? So when you
Yeah.
present it in a movie like this, it's like, oh, dude, like, I don't know if I could.
It
It's
is
just
so.
very simple, basic, disgusting things that are
Yeah.
really cool.
I mean, this first movie has that really like grounded feel to it, which I will say a lot of the later movies kind of lose that grounded feel because again, when you get a bigger budget and you get a better film crew, you get more elaborate with things. But this was just very simple, very basic, and it worked. Oh, that's not good. You broke your saw.
It's like, it's like it's like with fear. Remember the show Fear Factor?
Yep, I remember that show.
It's like with Fear Factor. Like when Fear Factor first started, remember in that first season, it got so ridiculous as the seasons went on. Like in the first season, like can you eat like a snail? You know what I mean?
Nope.
And then by season 5, it got to, can you eat the testicles of a giraffe dipped in sauce? It's like come on,
If
now what are
somebody
we
if
doing
somebody
here?
put if somebody put that in front of me, I'll be like, you can go fuck right off. I ain't doing that. Fuck you. I couldn't do it. No way.
It's like with the latter, we usually don't. It, Again, that's why with the later Saw films, it's like it gets a little too unrealistic.
You could say that the Saw franchise is the fear factor of horror films. If that's an analogy
It's
that
like,
makes
would you
sense.
put your like come on, but would you put your hand in a toilet full of shit and pee for $1,000? It's like, it's more relatable. It's more simple.
Yeah, I don't think I could do that though.
Like
No money in the world
Saw
to do
8 and 10, 9 got so extreme. There's just something really scary about, oh my god, I have to cut off my leg to get free.
Yeah. You could say that the first original 3 films before 10 came out, you could say that the original 3 were very in that like that had that feel. But then from 4 onwards, that's when things started to get even, elaborate, and I'll admit that too. Because I remember when I saw the third one in the cinema and how that ended, I thought, okay, that's it. It's done. And then I see a trailer pop up out of nowhere for a fourth one. I was just like, the fuck? But being being the horror movie person in me, I'm like, I have to go check it out, see where they're going with this, for better or for worse. That's just how I am, you know? But at the time, I was shocked that it was even still going because I thought, well, how the fuck are they going to keep going? Because, like, again, I'm not going to spoil it for anyone who's never seen these before, but I was like, how? And then we find out later. Oh, and this poor bastard. And what sucks about it, the guy's got the same first name as me. No, this ain't me and wrapped up in barbed wire, folks, so you can rest easy on that. But that's a nasty way to go. You have to literally crawl through a barbed wire maze. You know you're going to get cut. And as you heard her say, he cut himself so deep there was stomach acid.
This movie has a this has a very Seven vibe.
That's what I was saying. Like, I haven't had that same vibe for a movie like that since Seven when this one came around, and that's what it reminded me of. Again, the cinematography and the music score by Charlie Clouser, it's that's what made it stand out. Also, too, I mean, the music score from this guy too.
Yes, you can say this is extreme, but this is nowhere near where the latest movie went at all.
Oh yeah, when the later movies came around, dude, like from 2006 onwards, yeah, that's that's when things get fucking crazy. I will say they kind of dialed it back a little bit on 8 onwards, but the first but from 4 to 7, fucking hell, dude. And this guy, there's something about if you look at the reasons why Jigsaw, because people didn't figure it out at the time. The reason why Jigsaw is doing this shit to people is because they've done some shit that he doesn't like, or he feels that they don't appreciate their life more. So he puts them through these like extreme situations. He doesn't want to kill them. It's like he wants them to survive it, but they have to play by the fucking rules, and most of them don't do that. And then you got this poor bastard who.
That's bullshit. That's bullshit. That's bullshit.
That's the analogy I'm putting out.
No, Paul. Sometimes he put these people in no-win situations.
That gets explained later on how that happened, because you got to think about the character later on. I'll get to that when we get there. Because if you look at the original origins of him, is that he's putting people through that shit to make them appreciate their lives a little more.
I know about the cancer. He had cancer. Yeah. I know about that part.
But the other it's the other characters later on where his, I guess you could say, his motivations of this is where it gets diluted. But we'll get there when we get there.
Okay,
and like I said, you gotta keep.
But sometimes when people say, he doesn't kill people. Like, I'm like, motherfucker. He sometimes, like, I've seen some of the traps. Like, he puts them in no-win situations where you're gonna die regardless.
Yeah. Oh, see that clue? Did you see that? Gotta keep an eye on those little clues like that. Did you catch that?
What happened?
You see that guy that was laying on the patient bed? This is for people that's watching this for the first time. Did you guys notice a little piece of sketch on his bed? I'll just say, blink and you miss it. I'm not going to say no more than that.
I missed it.
I'll just because as you guys, well, me and James knows how this goes, but for anyone who is watching this for the first time, guys, you got to keep an eye on every piece of clue, because if you blink, you're gonna miss something. Because it all leads back to it.
There's Danny Glover and the villain from Rush Hour.
Oh yeah, I didn't realize that was him. I haven't watched Rush Hour movies for a while, dude.
Wipe yourself off, you're bleeding.
Oh, he was that guy. Okay, gotcha. But yeah, Danny Glover, man, legendary actor.
I finally found those sweet sour chicken eating ass.
Now I remember.
That movie's very racist.
It was, yes.
It's a very racist movie, but it's great.
But again, at the time, it was the late 90s, so nobody at the time were, thinking that far deep into things like that at the time. Whereas now, things that you could get away with back then, now it's like problematic, unfortunately. But yeah, like I said, Danny Glover, man, he's been in a bunch of legendary films. Of course, the
Lethal Weapon
series.
The legend.
Yeah, Lethal Weapon movies, Bat 21, Predator 2, 2012.
The greatest movie sequel ever.
Yep. And there was another movie he was in. I forgot the name of it.
I'm not gonna say the greatest. I'll say the most underrated movie sequel ever.
It was. There was another movie he was in. I forgot the name of it, but I think it was one he had Oprah Winfrey in it. He was starring in that one too.
Color Purple.
Yeah, that one.
Color Purple and Beloved.
Yeah,
Mark's favorite movie.
Yeah, I've only seen that Color Purple movie a few times on TV, and I think they did a remake of it not long ago. But yeah, this Dr. Gordon here, yeah. And I think a lot of this movie was done within the studio lot area. That's why you don't see a lot of like exteriors. Oh, here's Shawnee Smith. She was in the remake of The Blob back in '89. I didn't realize it was her at the time because again, when I saw this when it came out, I hadn't watched The Blob in a long time at that point. Later on, I realized who it was.
Yeah, she ends up being a very prominent figure in the Saw franchise.
Yep, she sure does, and she has a bit of an iconic moment in this movie, which is coming up right about now.
Yeah.
I remember when I saw this in the cinema and just seeing this image of like this whatever the fuck this was on her face, and I didn't know what it was at the time. It was like a reverse bear trap, but I remember just thinking, man, this is not going to end well. Yep, that is not something you want to wake up to, having that on your face.
See, when this movie
and there's the iconic Billy.
No, nobody has seen this before. Like now, it's like it's been done to death. It's like
yeah, every movie tries to do it.
Just stop making Saw movies.
You know that's not going to happen, dude. This franchise has made its mint. Now, I'll get to the news when we get to it towards the end, guys. But yeah, there's some big news I got to talk about later about this. But yeah, that this fucking bear trap, man. And I like the cinematography, especially when the timer starts and the music score to it. It just that's another thing I just loved about this first movie. It just clicked on everything. The look, the feel, the music, everything. And that creepy ass puppet. Which James Wan built himself, by the way. And actually, this was actually, for anyone who doesn't know, this was actually the original short film piece, but redone. But this is what it was loosely based on. Well, time to get the key. Again, that camera work is just gnarly at the time. Oh, countdown's on. 60 seconds. Yeah. She's the only, at the time, the only one that survived the game.
Feels like a Marilyn Manson video.
I was thinking the same thing. And I remember there was a music video for this film that was done by a band called Fear Factory. The song was called Bite the Hand That Bleeds. And if you've not seen the uncut music video, you should check it out because it's actually a cool video. I'll post it up to you later when we're off the air. As if it's still on YouTube because it's been 20 years. Yeah, imagine this. You got to get the key and you got to get it out of a dude's guts. You think the dude's
and
dead.
And the fact that you have to cut him open and get the key, it's like, yeah, this is great. It's like, this is great.
And he's still alive. He's still alive, though, but he's been paralyzed. He can't do nothing.
And think of that. It's as an extreme. Oh, this is so good.
Yeah. Opium overdose, man. He couldn't do nothing, but he felt it all. You talk about shitty ways to go? That's one of them.
Could you do that, Paul? Could you kill to save your life?
Well, it's either that or I get my whole fucking face ripped open by a bear trap. Of course I'm going to try and do something.
Way to moonwalk your way out of that one, Paul.
Just tell it
You
like it
didn't
is,
really
man.
answer the question, but yeah, I got you. Yeah, I got you.
That's my simple answer, man. I'm just being as simple as I can be. It's like, yeah, it's either him or me.
Now, if the dude that was on the floor was like a creep, like a PDF file or a serial killer, I have no problem doing it. But if it was like a regular person, I don't know.
Well, it's either that, dude, or you get your whole mouth ripped open. What's it gonna be?
You never know what you're gonna do in a situation. The fight or flight thing kicks in, adrenaline's
Yeah,
pumping. Like, what are you gonna do?
yeah, exactly.
Like,
It's like we
who
can talk.
knows,
We can
man? Who
exactly. It's like
knows?
exactly. It's like we can talk about what we do, but we're not gonna know until we're actually involved in that situation. And let's hope that never happens.
Look, it's Annabelle's boyfriend.
Fucking hell, man!
You know,
You
she's
just
in the
had to
older.
go there, didn't you?
No, she's in the older men. Marlon Wayans proved that.
Fair point.
One of the most awkward scenes I've ever seen in my life. Marlon Wayans having a sex scene with a doll.
Yeah. Now check this out as well. This movie was originally going to be a straight to video release, but because it had a very positive screening, a test screening, they were just like, okay, let's put it in the cinema. So imagine if they didn't choose this to be a cinema run, it was straight to video. Who knows what could have been of James Wan after that, or this whole franchise after that.
And who knows? And who knows? Like, imagine this. Imagine this movie, Paul. Annabelle is dating this jigsaw doll, and it's a romantic comedy, and Chucky's trying to get with Annabelle.
How the fuck? How's that gonna work? You left me speechless. I'm usually got an answer for something like.
And Annabelle doesn't love Chucky. Chucky's a redheaded kid that and then Chucky just wins Annabelle over.
Okay, that storyline could probably work. Yeah. How are you going to cut him if you're standing on one corner? Forget it. When he says that line, I'm always like, well, how are you going to do that then?
Yeah, Lee Winnell here. Obviously, he's is attached to was attached to. I don't know if he still is. Was he? I don't know if he was directing or writing or the remake of Escape New York.
Yeah, I did hear rumors about it. Let me see what's going on with him on that one, because I remember hearing they were going to do a remake of that, and then there was talk about it being some kind of legacy sequel to the first movie. If he's still involved in it, I'm just going to check it out. Hang on. He was also in a horror comedy called Cooties, which is a interesting zombie horror comedy with Elijah Wood. He just recently directed Wolfman. I'm just trying to see if there's anything about Escape from New York. Hold on. Okay, so it says here that he's currently in July 2020. It was announced that he was working on a sequel to Invisible Man, but he was also currently working on a reboot of Escape from New York. He's also directing and producing a sequel series to Upgrade. That's what it says on his Wikipedia. He's also thinking about doing a reboot of the Green Hornet. Okay, that could probably work. I've yet to see that Wolfman movie he did. But let me see what's going on with Escape from New York. I'm gonna go on IMDb and I'll just see what's going on there. There might be, because I did hear rumors about who was gonna get casted in it and whatnot. Okay, here we go. Right, so according to this IMDb's information tab I just put up, it's being billed as an untitled Escape from New York sequel, currently in development. I don't see any names attached to it, but I'm assuming he's still involved in it.
Interesting.
I'll definitely be keeping an eye on that one because I want to see what's going on with that. Because for anyone who doesn't know, Escape from New York is one of my favorite John Carpenter movies. That and They Live. They're my top two.
This little girl, she's probably like in her late 20s, early 30s now.
Yeah, she's probably I think she must have been about 8 or 9 when she did this one. I don't even know if she's still doing any acting afterwards.
I doubt it.
Might be, but probably like indie films. That's where some of them go eventually.
Yeah, it's probably
listen to this.
It's probably been about maybe 7 or 8 years since I watched this movie. It's been a while.
I last saw this movie 10 years ago when they did a 10th anniversary re-release in the cinema back in 2014. Because I know they re-released it again last year for its 20th anniversary. Where have I seen her before?
I remember this woman. I forgot she was in this.
Monica.
Who's this woman again?
Oh, her name is Monica Porter. She was in the remake of Last House on the Left.
That's right. That's right.
Another good remake, by the way, folks, if anyone's never seen it. She was also in Con Air and Patch Adams. Oh, the old 2004 Apple laptops. And keep in mind as well, folks, 2004, Facebook just came about at the time, but it was never like major public at the time. It was like a college thing at the time. So he's got the kid.
Paul, did you happen to catch the whole situation with R-Truth?
Yes, I did see that. Yeah, I mean, I heard he got fired, and I was like, bro, what the fuck happened? And then all of a sudden, he came back. Now he's back as under his real name, Ron Killens, and switched his hairstyle up and everything. I'm hoping that they'll give him a decent run this time around, and at least give him a run with a title. I mean, the dude's 53, and yet the guy can still move around like he does. That's pretty cool. But yeah, that whole situation, in my opinion, I think somebody fucked up in letting him go, and they had no choice but to bring him back because those people were pissed. And we're not just talking fans; we're talking the other talent on the roster too.
It was Triple H. Paul, cut the bullshit. It was Triple H.
Yeah, at the time I didn't know it was Triple H until then.
It was 100%. I'm willing to bet it was Triple H.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
why would you... he's not. Yeah, Triple H is not. As of late, the fans have grown to be real impatient with Triple H.
Yeah. Yeah, because he's done a couple of things right now which has not been very favorable to a lot of people. I mean, there's even that time when he's getting pissed off with people hijacking the show when they call the bullshit out.
Which is rich. Which is rich coming from him.
Yeah, I guess some things haven't changed since the whole thing with Daniel Bryan.
But again, I'm not saying that wasn't the right thing. But okay, he has a problem with people hijacking, but he had no problem when it came to Roman and Rock.
Yep.
We had no problem with fans hijacking it then, but
no. And another thing about WWE that I'm getting a little bit off about is the fact that you got like fucking sponsorships on virtually everything you see. There's a rumor going around now that even wrestling attire is going to have sponsors plastered all over it.
It's gotten ridiculous. Like the movie. They're becoming soulless. They're becoming soulless now.
Yeah, they're making money, sure, but you're bastardizing the sponsorships. You're getting overkill with it now. You don't need that many. You don't need a fucking Cash App logo on a Money in the Bank briefcase. You don't need a Firebird on the ladder. You don't need that stupid fucking Prime bottle on ringside all the time. Just saying. Hey, Chaz, what's up? Oh, yeah, Monica was also in Along Came a Spider. Cheers for pointing that out. That was actually the prequel to Kiss the Girls. Oh, the picture's gone. He's got the photo because that photo is with his because the family's all tied up.
Yeah, some of the acting hasn't aged well.
Yeah, that's true. I will say the acting did improve on Tom.
Yeah, I'm kind of getting Rooney Mara vibes.
Yeah.
Just leave.
She's just like, get out of here, man.
Just get out of here. Are you not happy?
Yeah, I mean, she knows what the fuck he's doing.
I can't stand your ass, Rooney Mara. That's what's going on.
You see that wardrobe open then? I caught that. Yeah.
Very Black Christmas there.
I was about to say it was a nod to that. I mean, even that was like Halloween, the nod there with that cover. And here's our killer. Man, they put this kid through some hell in this scene. Kid's really convincing of being scared to death, though. I'll give her that.
Now, if I remember correctly, this here is not Jigsaw, right?
Might be or might not be. I'm just trying not to reveal too much for anybody who's watching this for the first time.
Oh yes, Paul. Yeah, don't spoil a movie for people for a movie that was out 20 years ago.
Hey, there are some people that might not have seen this. You never know. Because this is that kind of movie where you can't give too much away. It's that kind of movie, dude. Oh, then again, you just saw the face, so I don't. Yeah, you might be right. Where was this filmed anyway? Oh, listen to this. This involves Kerry Ellis. He filed a lawsuit against the producers and the production company because he only received a normal salary of back-end revenues, which claimed to have been promised 1% of the profit, which would have been a considerable since the movie earned about 100 million. Case was finally settled out of court, but due to the disagreements, he chose not to be involved in any of the sequels until Saw 3D. I did hear there was an issue with him and the producers of that. And here's Danny Glover's character again. You want to talk about borderline obsession? There's an image of it right there.
Yep.
It's almost like that whole thing with the Zodiac. You know, where some of those guys got borderline obsessed. It literally took them over.
Yep.
And they're hell bent on closing the case.
Ruined his life.
Yeah. And this is the same thing, I guess you could say, that's going on with Danny Glover's character. He's become now straight up obsessed in trying to track down the guy who is causing all this. And yeah, and for anyone who's wondering, why is there no outside exterior shots? Well, because they didn't have the money for it. That's why a lot of it's indoors. I'm just wondering how the hell they managed to get fucking Danny Glover to be involved in this, because that was quite a surprise when I saw his name on the cast of this, and he did his scenes in like 2 days.
Danny Glover?
Yeah. And yeah, I don't know if you ever caught this on as well, but I noticed this movie does have like references to that Dario Argento horror, Deep Red, if you've ever seen that one.
I've heard of it. I've heard of it.
Yeah, there was a couple of nods to it, especially with the unseen killer with black gloves and everything. That's a nod to it too. Yeah, this guy is definitely hot on the trail.
I want to play a game.
I want to play a game. I used to do it really good when I was younger, that voice, but I can't now. Those old shitty ass computers in the background. Yeah, you could tell this is early 2000, folks.
Early 2000s, yeah. Internet wasn't really a thing yet.
Nope. And we still had those fat ass TVs. We haven't had any flat ones just yet. Well, we were starting to get flat ones, but they were like very few in numbers. It was like, you remember those like fucking plasma ones where if you have it on for too long, it causes bloody screen burns in the corners? They sucked. And for folks who's just tuning in, we are watching the very first Saw movie. And if you guys want to donate to the channel, there's a Cash App, PrimePod 313. Listed on the bottom corner of the screen there.
Oh. Yeah, I've wanted to be a cop. That was like back in like 5th grade.
Yeah, when I was a kid, it crossed my mind a few times, but then certain things I saw on the news growing up and certain movies, one involving a psychotic killer cop, kind of changed my mind. I think the movie that kind of changed my mind about having a career as a cop, I think it was when Copland came out.
That's a great movie.
Yeah, such a good film.
It's great. Underrated Stallone performance.
Yeah, Robert De Niro in it too, along with Robert Patrick, Harvey Keitel,
Ray Liotta.
Yeah, a lot of good names in that movie. And it was directed.
Yeah, and people consider that's what people consider one of Stallone's like worst performances. I'm like, they literally critics just a bully Stallone, man. Straight up bully Stallone.
Yeah, that movie, definitely is the far opposite of what most people are used to seeing Stallone do. Like he physically changed his appearance and everything, right down to his body weight and everything. Like he really 100% immersed himself into that role. Because I remember when I first saw it, I thought, "Oh, okay, Stallone's in it," and then I was watching it at the time when I was a kid. I was just like, "I ain't used to seeing Stallone like this." I get it later on, but back at the first time, it was like a shock to the system to me. So here we are in the lair.
Yeah, but like I said, like this feels very much like Seven.
That's what I mean. Like it has that feel.
Very much like Seven. I want to ask James Wan if he was inspired by Seven for this.
You know, I wouldn't be surprised if he
Because
said yes.
it has that same like dark, gloomy like feel to it.
Yeah. And keep in mind, folks, Seven, when that movie came out, that movie was very, very good. Like, no, again, at the
It's
time,
still
nobody
great.
saw anything. Yeah, nobody saw anything like that back then. 30 years later, and it's still a fucking good movie. Can you believe it's been 30 years now since that came out? Damn. That's the plans for where we're currently dealing with right now. You just saw the. That's the thing about this guy. I think, if I remember correctly, his background, Jigsaw's background is in engineering. That's why he's. That's why most of the stuff he builds is all like everything's pre thought out. He's like creepy ass pig mask,
And
which is a
I like that. I like that we're seeing, the models and the workshop, and it's great.
yeah. And this poor bastard here.
I wonder. I would love if Danny Glover says in this movie, "I'm getting too old for this shit." I will. That'd be hilarious.
I don't know if he said it in this one or not.
I love it. That's like his signature like line.
Yeah, I'm too old for this shit. And there's Tobin Bell. He was kind of rocking that little goatee beard at the time. And he's got that whole like druid thing going on with the rope and everything, man. I guess that's just a way to establish that like horror aesthetics look for a character. You got to do something like that. Because that's usually that's a given for any horror movies. You got to establish that look for them.
Mm.
Nope, he just hit the damn switch and busted the switch so you can't turn it off.
He's he's a slick bastard.
Yep. He knows every inch of that room, so he knows where everything's going to be. I'll go as, some people will go as far as saying that he's probably one of the more clever horror characters that's been put in horror on the big screen. Because he's got some fucking, he's got some crazy brain on him to make the stuff he makes.
Why would you let him walk? Okay.
Dude, I'd have just smacked him over the fucking head with that shotgun, but.
Did he do like some like Jet Li move on Danny Glover?
Yeah, watch. Wait for it. I'm sick of it all. See? Bang.
Oh. Oh, shit.
Caught him with that blade, man. He got his neck good. Again, that industrial metal music score by Charlie Clouser. Love it. It's one of the, again, guys, that's one of the things I loved about this movie is that score. And the fact that they had him for every movie.
Wait, so he dies in this?
Hey, let it play out.
Come on, like I said, it's been like years I've seen this, so.
Been over a decade, or close to a decade from what you last said. Did you get him?
Oh, I remember this. This was
Yeah,
brutal.
fucking this. All them
This was
shotgun souls.
brutal.
Yeah, dude, I remember when I first saw this in the cinema. I saw people literally be like, oh, "Don't cross it," and I'm there thinking, "This is not going to end well." There is going to be nothing left of the head or shoulders after this. Look at that shit.
Woo!
Well, if there was a head, it ain't there now.
And we don't see it. I love it.
And he's still twitching.
I think it's creep. I think it's creep. I think it's creepier that way.
That's how they did it for this first movie back then. Because again, guys, they didn't have the budget to go all extreme, so they had to literally be creative. The whole fear of the mind stuff with some of the camera shots just work with what they got. But yeah, he's dead. And that's what made his character snap. And here he is now.
That was intense.
Yeah.
That was intense. That was great. Very intense.
Yeah. I mean, this dude has obviously been kicked out of the force. He is obsessed. Hey, he's lost it. 3 hours and 52 minutes left. Again, very limited of what they could do in this movie with budget-wise, but so effective. Just, yeah.
I just love how this entire time. Oh, I'll play your game. I'm not gonna spoil it, but you get what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I get where you're going with it.
The commitment to be in that position all throughout this movie is crazy. Yeah.
And I think I might be a few seconds ahead of you. I've just paused it where he's turned the light out. Let me know when you get there.
Where am I? Wait, your head?
Yeah, is he turned the light out?
All right, he's putting his hand. Just turn it off.
Okay, I'm gonna hit play. Yeah, my blue web is ahead.
And found the X on the wall.
Yep, there's the X. I see it. Glow in the dark paint. See, like clever shit like that. Like you were saying earlier, it was like we're playing fucking Silent Hill or Resident Evil all of a sudden.
Exactly.
Oh yeah, and speaking of Silent Hill and Resident Evil, did you see the trailer for those two new games that's dropping?
I did.
Yeah, I'm not sure which one I'm looking forward to the most. I mean, like Silent Hill is a cool game, and it looks like this one's going to be set in the 60s, and you look like you're playing some Japanese school kid. And on Resident Evil 9, it looks like we're going back to Raccoon City. And when the game comes out, think about this, man. The Raccoon City incident come next year was 28 years ago. And now we're going back there. Yeah, I know, James, you're going to say about the reference again. I know. But it's true. That's how long it's been since that incident when next year rolls around. But I'm definitely looking forward to playing Resident Evil 9. I mean, going back to the city where it all started, bring it on. So they found another piece of the puzzle right here. Yeah, I used to have one of them phones.
Oh my god, the flip phones.
Hello, Moto.
Oh my god.
I remember that. Yeah, I remember.
I got try using that in 2025.
Impossible. Give me that sweet cancer.
Well, it's a great. Also, another great movie that it's not like Saw, but kind of like I was saying where someone had to cut their arm off 127 hours.
That's based on a true story. That was another movie that was done by Danny Boyle. I remember seeing that movie. Yeah.
God, God, he had to chop his arm. God, can you imagine? Like, fuck, dude. I remember the guy said that when he cut it off, he said he didn't really feel anything.
No, because his arm was trapped in that rock. All the blood circulation ceased at that point.
Yeah.
So the arm was technically dead. It would have got gangrene and whatever else in there. But dude, the idea of me cutting my arm off, that's life changing. That's the end of my video game days. I'm not gonna be able to do a whole lot with one arm. If it was a leg, I wouldn't be so mad about it. But an arm, nah, dude, that would fuck me up. Because with a leg, you can just get you can get one of them like fake leg things or whatever. But with an arm, there's only so much you can do with only one arm, and that's the truth. Unless you're some high tech genius that can make a Terminator like arm, yeah, good luck. Oh my god, those old shitty ass parking lots and them creepy ass phones.
Yep.
And those weird ass mirrors, and someone is coming out of the damn car. This was creepy when I saw this. This ominous looking figure creeping out of your car on all fours. And later on, we realize he's wearing a damn pig's mask. How would you feel about seeing something like that rush up on you like this?
Oh, that's creepy. That's creepy.
Exactly. And again, a lot of people seem to not give that bit credit where you got some that creepy pig mask. I mean, you got the puppet from Saw, yeah, but you add this type of character vibe to it as well. That's just even more terrifying. And I don't think that was Jigsaw that time around either.
That's a cool costume. Yeah.
Yeah, it is a cool costume. I actually had that costume years ago for a Halloween party, believe it or not. I actually took it to one. I was the talk of the dance floor for the night during that time. Huh. Terrible liar, huh?
And I believe James Wan's after this. I want to say that Death Sentence was after this because Death Sentence came out in 2007.
No, after this film, he did a movie involving a killer evil puppet called Dead Silence. Then he did Death Sentence, which, for people who don't know, that is the true sequel to Death Wish because that was the follow-up book after that one. And then he ended up doing what did he do after that? I think it was after Death Sentence. Then I think he started doing those Insidious movies. I think or The Conjuring. Let me see what he did after Saw. Give me a second. Or after Death Sentence, I'm gonna find out because he's built himself quite a resume. Okay, hang on. Okay, yeah. So after he directed Death Sentence, he didn't direct a film until 3 years later, and that was Insidious.
That he did do Insidious. He did Insidious and The Conjuring.
Yeah, 3 years after Insidious, and
two great films. Insidious and the first Conjuring.
Yeah, exactly. And that was when his movie career started building up a lot more. And then he did Fast and Furious 7, which I'm going to say right now, that's where the series should have ended. And that was one of the best ones they did in the series. And he was the one that directed it.
The first Conjuring was good. I think when it comes to the slasher subgenre, it I feel like I've been there, done that. When it comes to the slasher genre sequels,
Yeah.
I think it's run its course. I mean, there are reasons why we don't see slasher films in the outside of art. That's like the only one. Like right now, slasher films is pretty dead right now.
Yeah, I mean, all we got right now is we got Ghostface coming back next year. We got that Killer Fisherman for Know What You Did Last Summer.
But but,
They're
but,
bringing,
but Paul, you're naming properties from 25 years
yeah,
ago.
I know. That's the
I
ones
don't know if
we're
I
seeing.
count that.
I know. But when it comes to new characters, like you were saying, we haven't seen a lot of new ones except for
It's
maybe,
art. It's only
yeah,
art.
Art the Clown, and I'm going to say Heart Eyes as well. And Thanksgiving. Don't forget those two. Because they got sequels coming out later. But yeah, Art the Clown, right now, he's the only one holding court. And he's been making a splash.
Well, like I said, horror. I've said this before. Horror has matured, and I think slashers
Dying breed.
haven't matured yet.
No, I mean, it just feels like the slasher movies can't seem to get out of that. They can't get out of that rut. If you try to do something different, if you try to add more meat to the bone, you're gonna get people getting upset about it because they feel like, oh, we're not seeing the kills, we're not seeing the tits and gore. Nothing wrong with that, but you can't do it all the time because people are gonna get tired of it.
Very quickly. Get tired of it very quickly.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the reasons why Terrifier, in a way, is unique because even though it does deliver that kind of shit that we see in slasher movies, they try to do a little something different every time as well. But in terms of adding little tidbits to the history in the story of the characters. Now, I hear with Terrifier 4, I hear the first 15 minutes we're going to be deep diving into the history of Art the Clown. We're going to find out why he's like he is in the first 15 minutes. So I'm like, okay. After that, I don't know where they're going to go with it, but we know it's going to be the last one. The director's confirmed that for himself, to everybody. Whether it would be the last one in total, probably not. But in terms of his story arc, this is it. Well, there's one way to find out if you're if you're dead or not. You're fucking electrified.
Yeah, that'll wake you up.
Yeah, like I said, everything Jigsaw does is pre-thought out. If you think you can figure it out, he's like, nah, got a surprise for you. Dude, stop. You're not going to saw through that titanium chain. Just stop. You're just going to dull the blade, which makes sawing your leg even worse if you have to resort to that.
Ah! I bet.
Can you imagine sawing your own fucking limb off like this? Because that's what he wants them to do. You would have to put yourself into some really crazy fucking frame of mind if you want to do that just to get out of it.
Oh god, the MP3s.
Oh no, that's a shitty CD Walkman. That's not an MP3. That's a CD Walkman. I have an MP3 Walkman, and they're smaller than that. And I've got nearly 8,000 tracks, and I still got 10 gigabytes of space left to add a lot more. So I kind of prefer that over CDs because I used to carry a backpack full of CDs. I'm like, nah, I'm glad I got these smaller ones now. But Sony don't make them anymore. So if that one breaks, I'm fucked. I like to listen to music when I'm out. And somebody will say, well, why don't you just go online with your phone? Yeah, but it'll use all my phone data. So no. There's my rant about music electronics for the day, folks. I gotta
Oh,
put it out here also. The
I
music
remember this
soundtrack to
scene.
this,
This is when he gets kidnapped, right?
yeah, with the lights out and everything. And ironic too, he's a photographer just like me. Oh yeah, Malignant. I almost forgot about that fucking movie. Cheers for pointing that out, Chaz. Yeah, that movie, dude. You remember that one, James?
What's up?
You remember that movie he did as well called Malignant?
Yeah. But like,
That was
yeah,
a,
that was like
yeah, that was another.
2020, 19-ish when the movie came out.
No, it came out in 2021, where while we were like neck deep in COVID. It came out during the COVID era, guys. But yeah, Malignant was that was a good movie. I really enjoyed that one.
Oh, I love this when he's like flashing that big ass camera thing.
Yeah,
The pig charges at him. Yeah, good stuff. Good
there's
stuff.
this very suspenseful scene, and I like how they did it
No
here.
music. It's no music. It's no noise. It feels organic. Like love
That,
it.
that that's what I keep telling people, folks. Like, even though even though a lot of movies have music scores, I honestly feel that sometimes a movie can be more effective when there's no music score. Well, that's why do you think I gravitate to some of those found footage movies? Because it feels more like you're there, and the music
Authentic.
doesn't give away what's
Feels
coming.
authentic.
Yeah, because the music gives away what's coming. I like it when there's no music and you don't know what's coming, like it would in real life. There's that fucking doll laughing. Who'd have thought that sound effect would be so iconic now? Batter up.
Like right here. I think it's right here.
Yeah, it's coming up.
This is great. This is great.
As soon as he opens that door and flashes that camera, it's like bang right there. It's like a surprise motherfucker moment.
You can still see him, but
Yeah, well, you count on my TV, it's dark, but
that's
right
great.
about there. That was fucking awesome, dude.
And I've always felt that's how that scene on Halloween 2018 when the lady opens the door and then there's Michael. That's how that should have been done. Where
Yeah.
like I said, like imagine like because we know the scene when Jillian's like, can you close the door? She's like, okay, close the door, and it hits him, and she opens the door and he's right there. The
Yeah.
right way to shoot that scene for me would have been she closes the door, but something's in the way. You open the door, and it's completely dark. It's completely dark, and then maybe you do a thing where she like then
Turns the
she
light on
turns
and there
on
he
the
is.
light switch, and boom, there he is. Or she can like turn her back to Julia and ask, like, hey, like, do you have like, where's the light switch or where's the light bulb? And then Michael's face slowly comes out the darkness.
Now that would have been more better if they did it like that. Yeah.
Yeah, that like I, I, I've said this, man. A James Wan directed Halloween film would be fantastic in my honest opinion.
Oh, him doing a Halloween movie.
It'd be
Dude.
great because he knows how to use the shadows. He knows how to create suspense. He knows how to make things
Yeah.
authentic. It's like it'd be. I think it'd be a match made in heaven.
It would be. It would be perfect for him, Why they never got him to do a Halloween movie? I guess it's because he had like a stacked busy film schedule, because let's face it, that is one busy dude.
He's very busy, and besides, gotta give David Gordon Green some work.
Yeah, but he fucked up with Halloween Ends. I'll leave it at that.
To be honest, he
Uh,
kind of fucked up with Halloween Kills.
Halloween Kills wasn't that bad. I could tolerate that more than the other.
Yeah, but I think of the whole hospital shit and
Yeah, fair point. I mean, that whole evil
and
dies
then
tonight was
and they
overkill.
clearly by the time we got to Halloween Ends, they clearly had no idea what to do.
Yeah, like the most of Halloween Kills for me was good, but there were a couple of things they fucked up on. The hospital scene and the evil dies tonight was done to death. Like, I,
How they handled the legacy characters, Tommy, Lindsay, and Marion.
yeah,
I thought
yeah,
he dropped the ball there.
yeah. They ballsed up. They absolutely ballsed up on that one, dude. Again, like I said, there were some bits on the film that I liked, but there were bits on there where I was just like, I just couldn't give that a pass. Oh, I've just come across some really interesting movie news from 6 days ago, but I'll do that after the film. Oh yeah, by the way, I did see that. No, I'll talk about it later. I'll talk about that one later. But I've seen that parking lot used in several other movies. I'm sure that was used on Death Sentence as well. I'm sure of it. Here we go. The true colors part's coming out about him. Yeah, photos are done the old school way. You know, you had to go in a little red room and like have them developed in that water bucket
I'm
thing.
certain. Yeah, I mean, I'm certain they still do it that way now, but
Some people still do it, yeah, but it's nowadays everybody's all doing it digitally. Like if you're trying
I
to get
think
a job as a photographer,
digital. Yeah,
yeah, you got to do it that way. You got to know how to use Photoshop. You got to learn all that stuff. But yeah, I mean, like when it comes to photography, yeah, I could have used an old school camera back then, but again, photography 20 years back wasn't in my mind at the time. It wasn't until I was in college, like during my final 2 years, about 3 or 4 years ago, that's when I started taking an interest in photography, and that's how I started like getting photos of like all the local metal bands that play, and I've got a nice little, I guess you could say, a nice little reputation for that. And then of course, when I travel to those like carnival events, that's why I feel like I really find my groove as a photographer because I can really like make those pictures fucking stand out, as you've seen. So he's been having an affair. Okay. Some people do that. They have their mistress on the side.
it's not easy to tell a story through. It's not easy to tell a story through being in the present and also going back as well. Props to the
Yeah.
editor.
Oh, the editor. Yeah, like the editor of this movie. What's his name? I'll get his name for you. Yeah, the editor of this movie is Kevin Gurrett, and this is a guy who's been pretty much involved in the Saw movies for a while. Like this is after he's 60 years old now, but um he did a lot of he did editing for the majority of the Saw movies, and then later on he started directing. His first movie he directed was Saw 6, then he did Saw 3D. He did another movie called Jackals, which is an interesting low budget film, and he came back to do Saw 10, which a lot of people say is arguably the best Saw movie since this one. You know what I've been doing, huh? Imagine hearing that on the phone. But yeah, Kevin's had a pretty good career in terms of editing and directing. He's been getting his groove on that.
I remember
I
when
think.
I remember when I watched Carrie Always in the Crush, and I remember when that scene when like Lisa Silverstone was coming on him and she kissed him. I
Oh
recently
yeah.
just watched The Crush like 6 8 months ago, and then I remember screaming at my computer, like, "What are you doing, bro? Don't do that!"
Yeah, I can imagine.
Your character's 30 years old because you forget that Lisa Silverstone's character is 14 fucking years old. And I was like, yeah, you know what? And
You
now
can't be doing that.
looking back on it, it's like how they sexualize her in that movie. It's like, bro, Hollywood's a bunch of fucking creeps.
Yeah, there was a lot of that objectifying stuff going on at the time. Still does in some aspects as well.
Oh, they've calmed down on it a lot now, but
Yeah.
there's literally a scene when Lisa Silverstone is like sunbathing in her bathing suit, and like I said, 8-year-old me was loving it, but now 31-year-old me, I watch it, it's like, ugh.
Who was the producer of
Yeah,
this movie?
I'm not saying that because I don't think Lisa Silverstone is attractive. I guess she's a very beautiful girl. She grew up to
Oh,
be a
she's
very beautiful,
hot,
but at that time, again, her character is supposed to be 14 years old. That's the problem.
right? I know. I'm just seeing what she's up to right now.
She's not doing much nowadays.
Actually, no, she's still doing a bunch of movies.
I
She was
I
in.
I,
Well,
I
she was
haven't
in.
I haven't seen her in anything.
Well, she's in a recent horror comedy that came out by A24 called Y2K. I've heard about that one. I've actually been kind of tempting myself at the idea of checking it out because it kind of reminds me. It's like a horror comedy with machines, electronics coming alive and killing people. Kind of like Maximum Overdrive, but with a Y2K vibe to it, but not minus trucks or anything like that. If I watch it, I'll let you know what I think of it. Mason Gooden's in it as well. 15 hooker game. Damn. That's one way of putting it.
God, Lee Winnell looks like he's about to go work for Facebook. he
I think
looks
he just
like he
he looks
looks
like
like he looks like he would be an IT guy.
wouldn't surprise me if he did end up working there if this movie didn't work out.
A pissed off IT guy.
Yeah. He still would have made some decent money doing that, but hey, he managed to get himself a career going in filmmaking, so hats off to him. But yeah, I still need to check out that Wolfman that he's done. I've heard some good things about it.
I haven't seen it.
I've heard about it because I know that he after he did the Invisible Man, he was Blumhouse got him to do a reboot of that one as well. Because I remember they did a Wolfman movie in 2000. I think it was 2010 that had Bellacino del Toro in it. I remember that one. Oh, he spotted something again. In the photos. See, it's little clues like that again. He spotted something that's out of place.
I remember watching the third Insidious because Lee Winnell directs the third one,
Yeah,
and it's not the first one. It's not even close,
it's a
but
prequel.
it's not bad. I think a big reason because that is because of Lee's directing.
Yeah, and in terms of the
It's
the
not bad.
chronological, yeah, it was a good film, and I think it was also timeline wise. I think that was the first one in chronological order. Yeah, it's a prequel to the first 2 films that Chapter 3 was.
Yeah. Lee Winnell is shaping up to be a pretty decent director.
You should check out if you haven't seen it yet. Check out a movie he did called Upgrade. I think you might like that one.
Here it comes. Here it comes. Get
Here we
ready.
go. Yeah.
I love how you think it's this guy.
Mm.
You think it's this guy.
Yeah, because he's got all the gear with him, and and the fact that he's kidnapped these two. You're led to believe.
I'll never forget watching this movie, and when the thing happens, when that thing happens, you're going, what the fuck? What?
I'm not joking when I say this, right? But when I was in the cinema, I heard several people gasp, and I was the only one in the cinema that literally shot out of my chair and was like, what the fuck did I just miss? And everybody was just like, yeah, we're thinking the same thing. Everybody was like, yo, what the fuck just happened? It caught everybody by surprise. That was what was so fucking ingenious about it.
Oh, it was done so well.
Yeah. Oh, and Kerry Lewis here, man. He emotionally goes through the ringer in this scene. He's all pissed off and angry. Then he's all worried on the phone. And then what he hears next on the phone, he just, this is what.
Yeah, what are you gonna do now, bitch? What are you gonna do now? That's right.
Who's got the gun now, motherfucker? That's a Colt 45 9mm, huh? Like, he goes through the emotional ringer in this scene coming up, dude. And he really expresses it very well in his acting performance for this. You see what I mean? Like because he can hear this on the phone, and he is literally, he's assuming the worst right now. Because again, he doesn't know. He can only hear he can only go by what he's hearing on the damn phone.
And I love how things come together, like the present, the past comes together. Now we're solely in the present. I love that.
Yeah.
How this little girl is acting is exactly how I wanted that little boy from Halloween 2018 to act.
Oh yeah.
Oh shit!
Yeah, once I do it, oh shit!
The little kid should be losing. A little kid will be losing his shit. But in Halloween 2018, they played it for laughs. So it's like, what are we doing?
Yeah, he's like out the door. Unless he's one of those kids.
Shit.
Unless he's one of those kids that's watched a lot of horror movies at the age he shouldn't have and knows what's going on.
Danny Glover is to the rescue.
Yep. Tap is on there now. He's kicking that dude's ass. Yeah, Danny Glover was like what? In his late 50s here?
He was too old for this shit.
Yeah. Because he's like 77 now, I think.
And that's why Lethal Weapon 5 will never be made.
And he's still trying to do it. Mel Gibson is, that is. There's just no way, dude. There's just no way.
Yeah, there's just no way. There's no way.
I can't see it happening.
Even if you do it, it's not gonna feel the same. Like you say, he's 77 years old.
Dude, time to have done it would have been.
Why the fuck would he still be in the Force on set 77? Like, come on.
I don't know, but dude, time to have done it would have been a decade ago. You should have done it 10 years ago.
Even then, it would have been, in my opinion, I think it would have been too late.
Yeah, but you still would have been able to get away with it to a certain extent. You can't do it now. They're so fucking old. Hang on, if that guy's left the room, how come his chain is getting zapped? See, that's where you get caught out there. If Zepp left the fucking room, who's zapping him then? Yeah, interesting idea because again, the car chase scenes, because they didn't have the money to be outside. That was done in like a little studio lot. For anyone who didn't know. Man, these two have been put through the ringer, dude.
Yeah, they have.
I don't think any amount of therapy is gonna get them to forget this shit anytime soon. He's getting mad. He's like, fuck this shit. He's starting to lose it. You can tell he is at this point. Caution, raw sewage. Okay, so now we know where they are. They're in some fucking sewer treatment area. We got that part established. And there's the phone. This thing, if he answered that phone, he wouldn't have been doing what he's about to do.
Probably.
But because he threw that phone away, he couldn't reach it because that was his missus calling. Right there, could have done it. But it was literally out of reach. And I think that's what also drives him mad, also to the point where he's just like, okay, that's it. Dude, I haven't heard that gunfire sound effect in years.
Sounds like fucking cannons.
Yeah, they used to use those gunfire sounds a lot back in the 90s and early 2000s.
Oh, it just hit me. Oh, it just hit me. You're right. Yeah, if he was able to answer the phone call, yeah.
That's it.
If he was able to answer that phone call, everything changes.
Yeah. That's it. Now he is fucking snapped. This is it. That is so Murtaugh when he said that.
This is a great performance. This is a great performance by Carey, though.
Yeah.
He looks frustrated, angry, pissed off, and at his wits' end. Like, I totally buy it. Totally believe 100%.
He snapped.
This is so great.
He has snapped. This is it.
Can you imagine where you have to be in your own mind to actually do this?
Oh my god.
Oh my god. Oh, yes. Ah! Oh! Now remember, in 2000, now, this is nothing now, right? In 2004, this was, holy shit! Like, this is the moment you've been waiting for. You've been waiting for this moment.
That right there is the definition of masochism.
It's great.
Yeah, that is straight up masochism right there, dude. But yeah, I remember people in the cinema were just like, "Oh my fucking god, is he?" I'm just thinking, yeah, he's cutting his leg off. He's cutting his foot off. Just imagine the fucking pain you're going through because you're sawing through your skin, your muscle tendons, your arteries, your bone, the bone marrow. Yeah,
with that though.
Oh, you're gonna have to like serious like willpower and insanity and strength just to cut through that, especially if the blade is dull after you trying to saw through the chain.
Well, he wouldn't. Well, there's no way he would have cut it. There's no way he would have cut it that fast. Oh.
Well, then he would have. Well, I'm guessing then if he got as far as the bone, he'd probably snap the bone off because you can reach it at that point. You could do that if you open your wound up wide enough. And that's a 357 Magnum. He's got Rick Grimes' gun right there.
He's gonna shoot him. Oh my god, can you imagine?
Dude, have you seen how pale he's looking?
Oh!
See how pale skinned he's got after sawing his leg off?
This is so tame compared to where Saul went. This is great.
Yeah. But keep in mind, back then, nobody saw anything like this.
Think of where you have to be. Like where you have to be where you have to be mentally, emotionally. Dude, it's like, what the fuck?
If you're in a situation where you feel
It's
like you got
insane.
nothing to lose, he felt like he had nothing to lose at this point. So he's like, fuck it, I gotta do something. When you start overthinking things, dude, then you're capable of anything. But unfortunately, I can still see his foot on that trouser leg. Can you
Yeah,
see that?
He should be bleeding out.
He should be, yeah.
This is so good.
It's the rules.
Oh!
Get him, dude. Get him. Oh, gun almost in his mouth. Punched him in the face. Then beating the shit out of him with that toilet lid. Damn, he broke that thing over his head. Oh, shit.
Oh, can you imagine? Bro, this is great.
Great performances. Dude, you see how pale he is gonna bleed out.
They just start making out. They fall in love here. It's a weird way to end the movie, but yeah.
little bit of horror bromance right there, but okay.
This is the beginning of a beautiful love. Like, this is it. They fall in love. But I'm leaving you. I like women.
Yep. And just think, we never see him again until 6 movies later. Because that was the one question at the time I wanted answered. What the fuck happened to Gordon? Oh, I'm a bit ahead, so I'm just gonna wait until he's let me know when he's got to the part where he's just grabbed his wallet.
He should be bleeding out majorly.
Yeah, like, cause again, like I said, you sawed right through your fucking arteries. But then again, you haven't cut through your femoral artery. If you cut through his femoral artery, which is the upper part of your leg, you're done. Because you will bleed out in seconds.
Nice.
Did you?
Trying to find the keys. Check my keys. The keys.
Did you get the part where he's at the tape player? That's why I've paused it.
Damn it, I need help. You still looking for the keys? He's probably the tape player.
Okay, here we go. And here's that iconic theme. Zepp theme. This is the Saw theme playing. Yeah. Again, like I said, the one thing I'll give this series credit for, one of the things I'll give it credit for is I'm happy that they had the same composer. And another thing I love about the Saw franchise as well, if you missed all the clues, they give you a recap at the end.
It's all coming together now.
Now you realize. So Zepp was playing the game too. It was all part of Jigsaw's crazy plan. And for anyone who's watching this for the first time, the what the fuck moment that we were all just telling you about, right fucking there. I was like, what the fuck when I saw this?
There he is.
There's the man.
I remember this was so shocking. It was so shocking.
I bet you were there in your living room couch screaming, "What the fuck am I seeing?"
Looks like he's giving birth.
You could say that.
Taking off the prosthetics.
Yeah, there he is. He was right there the whole time. Oh, another thing too. That was actually him laying down in the floor throughout the whole scenes too.
It's the metamorphosis of Jigsaw here.
Yeah.
It's like, no way, he was there the whole time.
Hey, remember that? Remember that glowing key? That was his key to get out. It went down the plug hole. Oh, man. Heroes are standing on my arms again, folks. Those goosebumps are back. It feels like I'm back in the cinema again, seeing this for the first time. I got that same feeling. He could have shot him as well to get the key out of him, but yeah, Jigsaw had it knew what was coming. And another thing also we got to say about the Saw movies, since when did a Saw movie ever have a happy ending? That's another thing I appreciate about the series. Hey, Jigsaw, say it. Yep. And that's how it ends. Lights out and him screaming.
That's a great ending. That is a great ending.
Yeah. Yep. I remember coming out.
It was good by Lee Whannell. Okay.
Mm.
Then the last thing we hear is him screaming in the darkness. That's great. That's a great ending.
Yeah.
That's a great ending.
Like, holy shit, dude.
Yeah, Jigsaw saying game over. Yeah, that's what Triple H says. That's what Triple H says. That's what he says to LA Knight every week. Go ahead, Paul.
Yeah, dude, man, I remember when I left the cinema the first time. It was me, my mom, and my brother, and my uncle at the time. We were watching it. We just come out of the cinema. We were just like, "Holy shit, man! What the hell did we just see?" And again, this movie, the first movie, has that raw, primal, gritty ass feel to it, and it captured everything. I mean, it captured everything perfectly, like right down to the performances, the photography of it all, and just the everything, dude. And EJ saying Mudvayne, yeah, that Mudvayne, that ending song for Mudvayne didn't show up until Saw 2, and I think if I remember correctly, that song was called "Forget to Remember," which was from their Lost and Found album. I remember that one, EJ. But Saw 1, 21 years later, classic, still a fucking classic, and you can see why this movie ended up being the monster franchise that it ended up being, because after this one, 1 year later, I remember for 7 years, every Halloween, you always had a Saw movie coming out. And that was another thing I liked about this franchise, dude, was that every Halloween, I would always go to see a Saw movie in the cinema. That was, for me, that was like my annual event feeling. You know what I'm saying? Whether they were a good entry in the series or not, you knew you were going to get your money's worth in terms of what you wanted to see in terms of the craziness that happens in it. But the first movie, it's just that, it's just something about that movie that the sequels never quite captured, and that's that uniqueness to it, that primal darkness that it's still maintained, but it never properly replicated in the sequels. I think the only sequel that came close to it, in terms of the feel and the look, would probably be Saw 10. And like I said, people say that's the best sequel, well, the best reviewed movie since the first movie. So, but yeah, like I said, everybody has their favorite entry in the series, but yeah, the first movie's still a classic even today. So, yeah, it's been a while since I've seen it. So yeah, 8 out of 10. I enjoyed it. Take it away, James.
Well, as for me, I think this is a really good psychological thriller. I remember, like I said, I remember really enjoying this movie when I first watched it, and then, like I said, I remember liking Saw 2 okay, and then like I said, see. Saw 3 was when I was like, yeah, I'm out. Now we're going too goddamn far. But it's just the simplicity, behind it. Like it's just something as simple as Carriel is just cutting through his leg was enough for me. It's not like nowadays where I mean, again, I haven't seen the later sequels, but nowadays you have to fucking like walk through a tightrope and try to avoid syringes being stuck up your penis or some shit like that. Like bro,
Yeah.
like I understand, every movie had to get bigger. Bigger and better, but yeah, I just like the simplicity behind it. The simplicity behind it, and like I said, that ending I think is iconic. And if you just walked away with that, that would make it much more effective. Like we don't need to know every goddamn thing about everything, but yeah, I did enjoy this. I thought Carrie always gives a good performance. Lee Winnell was fine. Um,
Mhm.
um, yeah, it's a really good, it's a really good flick.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is
And this
well.
was and and this was the movie that launched James Wan and Lee Winnell's filmmaking careers right here. This is the film that did it, and this was James Wan's first movie he ever did.
Yep, it put him on the map, and and the ending it was very well done because again that twist was very well done. Like because you get like holy shit, he was right there that whole time.
Yeah, that
it was really well done. It was really well done.
arguably one of the greatest twists in movie history right there. Like, I've never seen any movie capitalized like that in a long time like that.
No, nope. And you didn't see it coming. So, and when movies legit get me at the end, I give it a well done. I give it a well done.
Mm, absolutely. And like I said, that's why this movie has gone where it's at right now.
So yeah, so chat. Leave your thoughts in chat or in people watching in the archive. What did you feel about Saw? Your reaction to Saw? Where you were when you first watched Saw? What are your thoughts on the ending? And before we get into Paul's movie news, we'll give Paul a little bit of time to prepare for that. And as we hear from Pastor Gino about
Oh
how he
no.
feels about women who well, take it away, Pastor.
Oh shit.
That's right. You so-called Christian-looking whores. Jumping in some church, flapping your ankle chains around, all on the choir, breasts hanging out, lips all red, nails painted red, purple, blue, green, long like bird claws, all this fake hair, breast implants, toenails painted with little fake diamonds in it. Your toes ain't richer. You're nothing but a prostitute.
Amen.
Hear me?
Wonderful, beautiful.
Go to church now. Go to church.
That's right.
Got nothing but a singing hoe, a shouting hoe, a organ playing hoe, a choir director hoe. Hey, preacher. If what I just said describe your wife, you're married to a hoe.
Amen.
Am I right, I say? Talk to me.
Yes, sir. Amen. Yes, sir. Wonderful.
Amen.
Hallelujah.
A man that's a real man don't want his wife out in the street looking like a prostitute. And you a holy woman?
Amen.
Or claim you's a Christian? Christian with skin-tight pants. Showing the very shape of your birth canal. Going to some church with the shape of your birth canal exposed in public and jeans all up the backside of your behind, carrying a Bible.
That's right.
Going to church.
That's right.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
That guy
I
needs to
love
get some pussy.
I love him, man. I love that dude, man. Look, listen. If you listen, any guy that's married, walk around him, and they walk looking like a prostitute, Gino warned you. Okay, but oh, go ahead and after the good word of Pastor Gino, go and tell us about the if there's any movie news that you've heard through the grapevine.
All right, well, let's start with the biggest news that dropped about a week ago. I put it in your StreamYard. This is for anyone who doesn't know. Twisted Pictures no longer owns the Saw franchise, folks. It's now been reported that Blumhouse Studios and James Wan's movie studio outfit, Atomic Monster, now have acquired the rights of the Saw franchise from Twisted Pictures. The deal is that James Wan now has creative control he's back in the driver's seat for the franchise. Lionsgate will still be releasing the movies. They got about a 50% ownership on it. And we're going to have a new Saw movie at some point. I don't know when, because I know they were going to do an 11th Saw movie, which was going to be a direct sequel to Saw 10. But for anybody who doesn't know, there was a pissing contest between the producers of Lionsgate and the producers of Twisted Pictures, and that's what ultimately led to where we're dealing with right now. So there's been a lot of speculations in regards to what's going on with the franchise. I mean, with James Wan back in the driver's seat, some people say the movie could probably go back to its roots in terms of how like the first 3 movies. Maybe that'll work because we kind of got a little bit of that with Saw 10. So maybe, I don't know, maybe they will continue that back to its roots vibes with Saw 11, which is what they were going to plan to do initially, but then all the stuff that was going on with the IP was all the issues. But my biggest worry is the fact that you have Blumhouse taking over. Now, don't get me wrong, Blumhouse, for better or for worse, they've had a pretty good run when it comes to horror movies. I mean, some of them are good, and some of them not so good. I mean, like they have a few good ones out there. I mean, like they did the Purge series, they did the Halloween films. The first 2 were all right. Don't get me started on Halloween Ends. They did Megan, which I know a lot of people like, and they got a sequel coming out later. So they've, Blumhouse has got a pretty good resume of movies. I mean, shit, I even hear they're doing a new version of The Thing. But anyway, my concern is Twisted Pictures pretty much allowed the Saw franchise to go all out batshit crazy with the traps and the gore. That's what I guess you could say is the trademark of that franchise. My concern is that with Blumhouse taking it over, they might tone it down, and that's the thing that kind of worries me about it. Will I go see it when they make a new one? Yeah, I'll probably definitely go and check out the new Saw movie when it does happen. Where they're going to go with it, I don't know. But with James Wan in the driver's seat, we'll probably get something interesting in it. Because after all, it's been 20 years since James has had any like proper involvement in the series. He's always been there as an executive producer, but never had any more creative output than that. So that could all quickly change with this one. But yeah, it's big news though. The fact that Twisted Pictures no longer now owns the Saw movies. Lionsgate still owns it, 50% of it, but Blumhouse owns the Twisted Pictures side of it. So Twisted Pictures is out. And for anybody who doesn't know, Twisted Pictures, the only movies they've the Saw movies. The other movies they've done outside of the Saw movies have usually been shit. So Twisted Pictures could be dead in the water as we know it when it comes to that. But Blumhouse is once again acquiring another big franchise name. Some people agree with it and some people don't. But for people in the chat box, what do you think about this news? I mean, think about it. We're 10 movies in. The movie's made over $1 billion in total box office franchise gross. and they have plans to continue it. So I don't know. Let's see what's going on here. EJ says that 10 would have actually been a good ending for the franchise. You might be right. Yeah. A lot of people say it could have ended on 10 because it did end on a pretty interesting note, and it did bridge the gap and fill in the closure gap for what happens later on for, like Soul 2 onwards. Soul 11, yeah, Soul 11 was they were having a lot of issues. It was because of the producers of Twisted Pictures and Lionsgate. There was a disagreement with that. But yeah, James, from what you're reading on that link, what do you think about this whole thing with Blumhouse taking over? Is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? Where are you at with this? Your mic's off, by the way.
Wait, what's up?
I mean, where are you at with this? I mean, what do you think about the idea of Blumhouse taking over the franchise? Is it a good thing?
I don't trust them.
That's what I mean. That's what I'm worried about, because the fact
I don't trust them.
They might tone it down.
I don't trust them. Okay, look, after what they look, we all know what they did. I'm not gonna bring that up. Okay, what they did with The Exorcist, again, I didn't hate Exorcist Believer. I didn't hate it. I just think the movie suffers from, if you see one possession film, you've seen them all. That's the only thing that I think it suffered from. Everything else in between Blumhouse has done, I've really not been a fan of. James coming back does help, but EJ